everyone, and welcome to Your Hair Made Simple, the podcast, where we encourage you to brace your natural hair with clarity, confidence, and courage. I'm your host, Shannon, and today we are starting off season 2, which I am so excited about. We have some amazing guests with us today, and for season 2, we are talking about it being more than just hair, our hair being more than just something that's on our head, but really a part of our experiences in our daily lives and our relationships. And a part of us being fearfully and wonderfully made. So, with me today, I have Kethia Gates and her daughter, Kennedy Gates, who have graciously agreed to be with us. Kethia is a nonprofit leader who is balancing life as a loving wife and a mother to 2 children. In addition to Kennedy, there is Kendall, her son. She's been natural since college, but became more intentional with her hair care and her styles after becoming a mother to her beautiful daughter, Kennedy, in 2013. Kethia seeks to model authenticity for her daughter, and she believes that it started with the way she wore her hair, which I think is so important as well. From wash and goes to braids to wigs, Kethia proudly showcases versatility of a Black woman's hair to her daughter and to those around her. And she instills this in her daughter, Kennedy, who also loves to wear her natural hair in protective styles due to their busy schedules. Kennedy, in addition to loving her hair, also has a strong appreciation for sloths, sports, art, and pasta. We love a well-rounded girl. So with that being said, Kethia and Kennedy, I will turn it over to you all to introduce yourselves and say hello to our audience.
Hello, friends. My name is Kethia Gates, and it is such a privilege to be here with my friend Shannon to talk all things hair, share just some tricks I've learned of being a mother of 2 with 2 beautiful children with a lot of hair.
My name is Kennedy, and I'm very excited to do this. Yeah.
Very good, very good.
We're excited to have you, Kennedy. So before we jump in really quickly, Kennedy, how old are you?
I am 10 years old, and I'm about to turn 11 in August.
I remember meeting you as 2-year-old, and your mom was doing your hair with cute little puffs. And so Kennedy has been natural pretty much her whole life, her whole experience. Her mom has been making sure that she takes good care of her natural hair, avoiding putting chemicals on it. And so I think that's a very special experience that you have been able to have and to share with your mother. And so, Kethia, I know in your bio we mentioned that you've been natural since college, but how long has that been? What does that equate to
Yeah.
in years for you? Yeah.
I accidentally went natural in college in 2008 when I started. As a freshman, I just had micros because the town that my college was in, I didn't know where to get my hair done. And after about a year of wearing micro braids, went home and was like, Mom, I'm ready to get this perm. And she said, Oh no, girl, you got a couple of inches of new growth. We might as well continue. And at the time, she actually had just started her natural hair journey again and cut all her hair off. So I wasn't doing it alone. It was accidentally happening. And so I went back to college that following fall and really leaned into wash and goes and twist outs. And fortunately, that was the start of the YouTube era of all the naturalistas. And I still have like my go to girls that I check on that have evolved over the past year. So that was 2008. So whatever that math is, I can't believe I've been doing it that long, but
Yeah,
yeah.
that's about 16 years.
Oh wow, when you put it that way, here we are, and I'm still learning something new about my hair all of the time because it's
I think that's so special that you shared that. One, it was an accident, right? But your mom saw that like it was a potential for your hair to kind
Mhm.
of embrace new growth and embrace a new season. And she was going through that same experience as well. And I think especially because we're here and talking about you as a mother and your
Yeah,
relationship with your kids' hair, you being able to like have that experience with your mom and then with Kennedy, allow her to be natural from the jump, right?
yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna lie though, Shannon, when I found out we were having a girl, I was very nervous and intimidated by the fact that, oh snap, I'm still learning how to do my hair.
Yeah.
Now I'm in charge of taking care of someone else's hair. She's gonna be bald headed. She is not bald headed. And there's nothing wrong with being bald headed, but being bald headed because you don't know how to take care of hair, that's a different
Yeah.
situation.
Kennedy, you're laughing. So how do you think your mom is doing on taking care of your hair?
I mean, I think she's doing really good. Like she said, I'm not bald headed, so that's like really good.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
But yeah, I think she's doing.
What does it mean to you, Kennedy, for your mom to be able to do your hair?
Well, I think I can learn from it because I want to learn how to do my own hair one day. So if she does that, I can like learn from her. See how she does it, so I can do it.
And I think, Kethia, you're nodding your head, and I think that's something to be proud of because what I just heard Kennedy say, Kennedy, what I heard you say is that essentially you feel enabled and confident in caring for your hair, and that it's not something that you want to shy away from when it comes to doing your hair. Like it's something that you think and you can learn how to do for yourself, seeing your mom do it.
Yeah,
Is that
she's starting already. Most of the time her hair is in a protective style. And so she's kind of taken the lead this year as a fifth grader. Of course, making sure she wears a bonnet, but in the morning, she'll style it how she would want to. Like, Kennedy, do you mind sharing that morning routine?
First, I like spray it with
Leave-in conditioner?
yeah, leave-in conditioner, and then I would like brush my edges and the back of my head, and then I would like spray the ends of my hair and just let it soak in, and then I would put it in most of the time a ponytail, and my hair would be.
And you just said some important things. One, like you're making sure that your hair is moisturized, particularly on our edges and our ends, which our ends can be our most vulnerable, one of the most vulnerable areas of our hair when it comes to damage. So you're already taking, like taking and applying what you're learning from your mom and doing it yourself. And that's like amazing to hear. So, what is your favorite hairstyle currently?
My favorite hairstyle currently is twist. I really like twist. It feels comfortable and like really free.
Someone sitting here in twist as well. They're one of my go-to styles. They're so versatile. They give you so much freedom and flexibility to play with your hair and do what you want, and also for it to just be done and retain moisture, which I think is very powerful. Kethia, what is your favorite style to do for Kennedy's hair?
I would have to say the mini twist, simply because it reminds me of when my mom would do my hair. That was a common style that I had growing up. And my mom actually, when I had Kennedy and her hair was long enough to start putting it in a protective style, she encouraged me. She said, "That's how your hair grew." And she was like, "I didn't know how to braid. I did not know how to braid until COVID recently. So I'm very proud of my braided hairstyles now on her. But I really like the mini twists. They're simple and easy. And one day when she's ready to learn how to do it herself, that's the first.
And so one thing you just said about like not knowing how to braid, but then you took like COVID, I think, gave all of us time that we weren't necessarily
Listen.
looking for, but we got, right? And so you talked about like learning how to braid, but I think it's really important that you just started with like what you knew and what was familiar. So like sometimes natural hair can seem overwhelming because it seems like there's a vast sea of things you can do, but you
Yeah.
just started out with your arsenal of what was familiar to you and what you knew or what you had come into contact with and branched out from there. So what was that process like of learning how to braid for both of you all?
Yes, because it definitely was a process. Fortunately, she was younger and she wasn't picky, and she Kennedy is a very patient young lady. I went on YouTube like I always do. And I know some people are like, YouTube University is my go-to. I found a couple of individuals who went slow on the braiding, and I was able to find a technique that worked best for me. And after trial and error, found my best process and the products that work best on her hair that I feel comfortable using. Also, I remember during COVID at the time, Serena Williams had shared a post about, she was like, I do not know how to braid. I'm of the sisterhood who do the sorority, I think she called it, of women who do not know how to braid, but I'm learning. So please don't think any less of me. And I felt that as a mom because I've always wanted to be able to braid her hair. So the cornrows are tighter now. I get better and more creative with time. I'm very proud of it, and I'm appreciative that Kennedy was okay with me trying new things and was open to it. How did you feel about me learning how to braid?
Um, well, I mean, I don't think I really thought much of it. And also, I can't really remember most of it, but I think I was okay with it. I didn't really think much of it, so yeah.
How you feel about the hairstyles now?
Definitely. I think they're definitely getting better. But yeah, I feel really good.
And I think to what Kennedy just said, a lot of learning something new can be intimidating because, like, am I going to get this right? Are they going to hate it? Are they going to remember this forever? But like, you got better over time, and Kennedy doesn't even remember. So in a way, like, I think that's a really freeing. Like Kennedy, you remember your mom doing your hair, right? But you don't even remember like you just remember being with your mom. Like you don't necessarily remember if it was a great braid day or a horrible braid day. And I think
Right.
that more than that, that just sounds really powerful and freeing to me. Of like, it doesn't matter if you get it right or wrong. If you're learning and spending the quality time, like that's where the memory is more than, like they were learning and I didn't necessarily like it or I did or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that because you never know. You want your child, and when you get your hair done, you want to feel good. And so sometimes that's that added pressure I put on myself of I want her to walk away feeling like I'm fly. But like she's been natural all her life, and fortunately, I think in the media now there's more natural hairstyles, and she's surrounded with that imagery more, especially since I wear my hair like that all of the time. So there's not pressure to have that perfect straight hair or perfect image. She's a natural.
And I think too, you just said about like not necessarily having that perfect hair and it was pressure that you put on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times that's all it is. And Kennedy, like wanting her to feel fly, like confidence is something that comes from within. So like if you're curating this self-love, then I think you're also curating confidence that whatever the style is or whatever the day is, if it was a day where we had time to do the mini twist or a day where we just was like, we're pulling it back, this is what we have, either way, like there's room for confidence because it's been curated from within, that like what you're working with is good.
Right.
So Kennedy, I'm curious, what does your hair mean to you and why?
It means like it's very special to me. I like having it with me, and it's very comfortable, and it's just it kind of Well, like I read a lot of stories sometimes with people who have hair like me, so the stories kind of remind me of me because sometimes they'll get their hair done. Kind of relate, yeah, I get my hair done. Does that make sense?
It does.
Like your hair is one, like it's something that gives you comfort. It's something that you enjoy and, like feel like you're yourself in, and also being able to recognize the way that you care for your hair in books and other things which you enjoy reading kind of like helps to just further instill that confidence in your hair, because you not only see it in your home and get that love there, but you also see it in other things that you enjoy. Is that right?
Yes.
I think that's great. And Kethia, how does it feel for you hearing her say that?
I'm proud because as you've known me for the past 8 years, I've been very intentional about the media we surround our children with, as well as how I present myself. I remember when she was in kindergarten and she had a moment where, she wasn't feeling her hair too much. It was frizzy. It was a little too frizzy that day. And her teacher at the time, and I really appreciate it, I told Kennedy that day, and she didn't know she was having a rough day, that I really like your hairstyle. And she was a Black woman, but she said, I want to wear my hair like you. And Kennedy said, why would you want to wear your hair like mine? She said, because it's beautiful. And you remember your teacher? She came back the next day and she had like little Afro puffs too. You remember in kindergarten? You might not. I'll show you the picture. But it made her feel better,
Mm-hmm.
especially, at the time she was one of the few Black girls in her class that year, and even in her yearbook, because I have a book that each teacher will write a message in. She talked about, continue to see the beauty from within. And I just think that's important to have those messages for
Yeah.
children throughout. So I appreciated the support outside of the home and people reaffirming her. And now she's so confident in her hair. Like, was it last year for your birthday you had purple hair?
Yeah, it was cool.
Why
I think I
would
remember
you
that. Was
want
it the
purple hair?
braid?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, purple is cool color. Yeah. Now see, running out and get yellow hair.
No yellow hair, not yet. We're working on that. But the purple hair, the blue hair, it's just a form of
One thing you touched on was, and Kennedy mentioned this as well in her answer, but like surrounding her with media that instilled that courage as well. So what does that look like for you to be intentional with like finding that media, creating that environment for Kennedy and Kendall?
Yeah, so love a good children's book. I feel like we can learn so much from children's books. They have the simplest lessons from imagery to messaging. I buy books that look like my children, honestly. So for Kennedy, some of the early books was I Love My Hair by Bell Hooks. Happy to Be Nappy by Bell Hooks. Hair Love, which is now an animated short film. Love that. For my son Kendall, he has a book called Ode to the Barbershop, and it's a poem talking about how little Black boys and Black men feel when they go to the barbershop. And, they are so blessed and fortunate to have all of this imagery around them.
Yeah.
Growing up, I don't remember seeing that. I was
Yeah.
searching for that. I loved magazines. And so my mom, being very intentional like she is, she would buy Essence and Ebony.
Mm-hmm.
And we had Black art around, but when I would go to the grocery store, I didn't always see that imagery. And even on TV, the TV shows that we watched a lot from when we were
Mm-hmm.
growing up, like Sister Sister, Moesha. Like I
Yeah.
loved Moesha growing up, and that's why I stayed with braids, because I'm like, oh, Brandy had braids. I want braids like Brandy. and,
Yeah.
and I think that's important to see yourself in the media that you're ingesting. So she's not on social media like that, fortunately, but TV and the books and the magazines.
I love that. And you even named some books that I wasn't familiar with. I think I had not heard of Happy to Be Nappy by Bell Hooks. I'm reading one of her other books right now, so that's really cool that she has a children's book as well, an ode to the barber shop. I just think that's so special that there's like poems, right? Like
hmm
ways to show our love.
What's
Kennedy,
the children's book that we bought you? Is it Ruby Booker
Um, Ruby
and the Booker Boys? Yeah, Ruby and the Booker Boys. That was her first chapter book of a little Black girl that looked like her. She had Afro puffs and everything. So just being a Google search.
look, we are innovative and we're seeking what we need. We're
hmm
not waiting for it to come to us. Ruby and the Booker Boys. We're getting all the book gems being dropped here. Moms, parents,
Oh, I have
you
more.
heard it here first.
I can get a book list. Like I have more.
We might follow up on that after this episode. Kathia's book recommendations.
I would
Okay.
love that.
At Love Mama Thea on Instagram. Her book recommendations. Her info will also be in the description of this episode. Back to our questions. Kennedy, I'm curious for you because your mom talked about this experience, which was in kindergarten. So I know you don't necessarily remember that. It's a while back, but you're in the 5th grade now. You have your classmates, your friends at schools. I'm curious, what does it mean for you to show up with natural hair at school? How do people in your teams or clubs react or respond to your natural hair?
Well, one of my friends, they go to a different school now, but every time I used to come up, like go to school with my hair like this, they'd be like, "Oh, you're having a wash day," and it was because they had an older sister who would have the same like process as me.
Mhm.
So like sometimes it's like oh, your hair's like that, it's not a twist, or oh, you're having a wash day. It's like different people have like different response to my hair, which I'm okay with because people see things in different ways. So yeah, that's kind of a good way. But yeah, most of the time,
For those who are listening, describe how your hair is right now, how it looks currently, the style.
For those that are listening, they might not see the video. How does your hair look currently?
Oh, so right now, it's like it'll be fine because I got my hair blow dried this morning. So yeah.
Yes, we
Nice.
have almost a 2 to 3 day process for our sanity. We take out the hair and we wash it and blow dry it, hopefully all in the same night. Sometimes that might be 2 days, and then we'll braid it or twist it on that second or third day, just so we can have time.
And one thing I'm curious about, because since it's a 2 or 3 day process, you have your son Kendall, and Kendall is 3. I'm
Yeah,
like, yeah, he's 3. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to like push him into 4.
2
Birthdays are
weeks.
coming up. I know. So is anything with Kendall's hair also a part of this, like as a mom balancing 2 heads
Yeah,
and your
I
head?
I try not to wash both of their hair in the same weekend, because Kendall, we're also exploring hairstyles with him. He's not ready for the all of the deep conditioning and sitting down for a long time, but
Yeah.
it's a nice wash, condition, and a good comb out with a leave-in. Every now and then he'll let me twist up or braid his hair. That is rare. That is rare.
Mhm.
So I really try to space out their wash days.
And I think that's just important because, moms of parents really of kids or
Yeah.
multiple kids navigating and managing multiple heads and personalities and temperaments, right? Depending on age and
Hmm.
when it comes to like sitting still or not, that can just be its whole own, pathway to navigate. So I appreciate you sharing that perspective on how you manage it as well. Kennedy, I'm curious, do you ever help your mom do your little brother's hair?
No, not really.
Not, and that's
Um,
perfectly fine.
I mean, I'll give her the stuff, but she's normally the one who does it.
And sometimes you distract him for me. You'll entertain him
True.
to try and keep him right there and not frustrated, because you doing hair can be frustrating when you would rather play with toys, right?
Yeah.
I think that's super fair. I was genuinely just curious, but I think, even being a part of that experience and playing with your brother and helping to distract him is something that can be fun and a fond memory as well, because it takes a team sometimes, to get the job done.
Oh yes. Yes, he still gets his hair washed by the sink, laid out on the counter, so my husband has to help put him up there because my son is very tall and very, very strong. Help me on that.
Put me in, coach.
Yeah, literally.
Kethia, I'm curious for you, like as you, started doing your kids' hair, have you noticed necessarily any differences in your hair versus your children's hair as you manage yours as well as theirs?
So both times after I had them, my hair changed.
Mm,
In the sense of, hormones balancing out. But I do feel like my texture changed after Kennedy. It was a looser curl, and then it took a couple of years for it to get back. And there could be some science behind that I don't understand. But with Kendall, me and him have the same curl pattern, like very
yeah.
tight and coiled up once it dries. So all three of us though have a fine hair. She just has the thicker version of our fine hair, if that makes sense. But for
Yeah.
me, as a mom, and I don't know if other moms could agree, but I'm just trying to do the the bare minimum for me. I know that might sound bad, but I'm just trying to make sure my hair looks decent enough so that I can get to the other things. And that's why when I get my hair done, whether it's braids or
Yeah.
I'm a wash and shampoo, that is like a spa day for me time. I don't have to put work into it. Someone else is pouring into me and I'm not exerting energy. So I really enjoy those moments. But my hair care routine is bare minimum because I know I'm taking care of two other heads that were,
So I think Um, for Kennedy's hair, you said it's the thicker version. You mean in terms of hair density, she has much more hair
yeah,
strands on her head? Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Just wanted to
Yeah.
clarify that Kennedy does have a lot of hair on her head.
Yeah, she
And
looked
so
like a beautiful lion this morning.
And for yourself, I think when it comes to, doing bare minimum, still making sure to hit those essentials, right? So we still want to shampoo,
Yes.
condition, and at least like apply that mask and moisturize. And then from there, styling really is whatever is your own choice as long as you're doing it in a way that doesn't allow damage as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a wash and go girly right now. That that's just been my go-to for a little over a year now. If I have the time, I do like twists like Kennedy. But since her hair density is a lot more, her hair is fuller with the twist.
Hmm.
Mine aren't as full. So it doesn't give me the look that I.
Absolutely. And so I want to touch on this as well. Would you say that the time management has been the biggest challenge you face in trying to navigate your hair as well as your kids' hair, or has there been anything else that you've seen as a dynamic in that regard?
Time management was an original challenge. Now is finding products that are affordable as well as effective on
Hmm.
three different types of hair. Um, I know for me, I'm allergic to coconut, and that's in a lot of products. My children so far haven't discovered if they're allergic, but my son and even Kennedy, they like to cuddle with me. So if they rub their head on me and they have coconut oil in their hair, my skin is gonna break out. So that's been the struggle for me, finding products that, one, I'm not allergic to, and two, that are effective on all of our hair,
Yep.
and allow for us to have healthy care routine. Even my husband, you can see him right here, he's bald but he has beard hair, right? And
Yeah.
that's a whole other maintenance that we're still trying to discover for himself. If he has coconut oil in there, I'm like, oh, sir. So he's having.
One, that's such an important part, right? It sounds like the whole family is on their natural hair care journey, which I think is a beautiful thing to be able to share together as well. But finding products, right? Because if the hair is a little bit different or if there are different properties there, then making sure that they align, as well as
Yeah,
knowing our allergies, which is something that I think is very important to be mindful of in terms of product. If you do have any hair allergies, or excuse me, not hair allergies, but allergies to certain items that could potentially show up in your products, really assessing and reading labels to better understand what's in them. Um,
absolutely.
which it sounds like you've been doing the due diligence for yourself times three.
Yeah, honestly. So it's rare that there's a different hair product specifically for one person in the family. We usually
Hmm.
try to have the same thing, which is challenging, right? Because like I said, we each have different hair types, but that's
I want to pivot back to you, Kennedy, and ask you, in terms of your natural hair, what would you say is the biggest thing your mom has taught you about caring for your natural hair?
Um, Probably to make sure that one, I keep my bonnet on at night, which is very difficult because I move around a lot in my sleep. So, yeah. And then another one was like just spraying it every morning, making sure that it stays moisturized.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
we
Well,
all
Mom, it
struggle
sounds
with
like
the bonnet, right? It's okay.
mine came off this morning as well. So, I think I need a new one that just the elasticity is pulling. Replace your bonnets, people. Once it starts to give, replace it. PSA. You heard it here first. But Mom, it sounds like you have a lot to be proud of in terms of how Kennedy is viewing and caring for her natural hair. Kennedy, it sounds like you have a lot to be proud of in terms of how you're caring for yourself and navigating the world with your natural hair. So as we begin to wind down this episode, which so much that I've enjoyed talking with you all about, but I'm going to ask each of you two final questions. So, Kethia, what is something that you would say to moms or parents who are navigating raising children, as well as trying to care for their own natural hair?
I would say remember that your kids are always watching you, and how you talk to yourself, how you treat yourself,
Mm.
um, they will see that. And in turn, sometimes they'll treat themselves that same way, for the better or for worse. I've learned that this young lady has taught me that over the past 10 years. And so just be very cognizant and intentional about the energy that
And it starts from within, right? And we have to be
Mhm.
mindful because kids are mirrors. They're learning from us, like Kennedy said. And so they will learn and act in word and deed in all of those ways. Kennedy, what would you say to other kids that are learning how to care for their natural hair?
I would say pay close attention to how your parents do it. And also, if you need help with it, actually don't be afraid to ask because you're still learning.
The essence is being vulnerable. It's being vulnerable to try something new with your hair, and it's being vulnerable to learn something new as well. So I think that's very powerful. All right. And then my last question for each of you is I'll start with you first, Kethia. What is one affirmation that you would say to your hair right now?
I'm looking in the camera right at her.
I love that. Beautiful, big, and bold. Come on, 3Bs.
hmm
Big and bold. Take up all the space. Yes.
Yes,
In width, in style, in vibrancy, in whatever it is. Take up the space.
yes. The vision space, because when I walk in a room, I feel like when any natural woman, Black woman, walks in a room and with her,
Then, Kennedy, what is one affirmation that you would say to your hair right now? That's so pure. My heart. I love that. A beautiful butterfly. I love that. All right. Well, that wraps our episode for today. Kethia and Kennedy, thank you so much for joining us. And for those listening and watching, however it is that you are engaging with us, thank you so much for joining us here today. And until next time, remember that all hair is good hair, that your hair is good hair, and that you are fearfully and wonderfully made because God said so. All right. Until next time. Bye, y'all.